Hi everyone, it's Lynnea for LDRS Creative, and today I'm going to share with you an easy way to mass produce cards for the holidays. This is going to use some cover plate dies and it's going to use up some pattern paper. And if you're like me, you hoard your pattern paper. I always tell my friends that when I buy pattern papers, I tend to buy sets of two, one to use and just one to look at. And so I'm kind of challenging myself lately to use my pattern paper. So I have the LDRS Creative Modern Geometric cover plates, and I have 1, 2, and 3, so the full set of them. And I'm going to cut these out from some white cardstock. I rarely keep full sheets of white cardstock. I cut them down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 into slimline size, mini slimline size. It's just easier for me to work with that way. So I'm going to use some washi tape to tape the modern geometric cover plates onto my A2 size cardstock and just cut them out, and then use a little piercing tool to push out all those little pieces. Now these are layering dies. You can use each one of them individually, as I'll use today, or you can layer them up. You can layer 1 and 3, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, however you want to do it, they will mix and match. I grabbed the Peace and Joy 6x6 paper pack, and I'm just looking through my paper pack and deciding which patterns I want to use. And I'm lining up each of the modern geometric cover plates over each pattern to kind of decide which one I want to use, because each one of those patterns is different. Some of them are chunkier, some of them are finer detail, so I want to make the most out of my pattern papers. Now when I'm mass producing, I like to keep things simple, so I'm just going to use those pattern paper and those modern geometric cover plate dies as my backgrounds. And when I'm mass producing, I don't like to really have a lot of coloring. So I'm just going to grab a sentiment, and this is from one of my favorite stamp sets from the last holidays release. This is the Snowflakes and Blizzards stamp set. Picked out one of my favorite stamps, and I'm going to stamp that onto a piece of white cardstock that I cut out using the Elegant Stitched Frames Slimline die set. I found one of those stitched layering dies that's going to perfectly fit this sentiment that says Merry Everything and Happy Always. And then I'm just going to grab a Copic marker and just color these in really quickly. I stamped these with Raven Hybrid ink, so they are alcohol marker safe. But if you wanted to use pencils or watercolors, that would work too. That Raven Hybrid ink works with any kind of coloring medium. So I'm just going to dot in some quick color here. Nice and easy. This isn't going to take a whole lot of time, so even if you were making 50 of these, that's not going to take a lot of time. And then I use the layering die for this particular kind of label shape, and I die cut the same pattern papers that I used in the backgrounds. I cut those again so that I can use them to mat my sentiments. I'm going to layer them up with some foam tape, and because I'm mass producing these cards to be mailed for the holidays, this is going to be the only place where I use foam tape. I like to keep things pretty flat, so I'm going to use a thin foam tape and just layer my sentiments together. Then I'm going to use some liquid adhesive. I'm using a very strong liquid adhesive to glue each of those modern geometric cover plate die cut pieces onto a pattern paper background from that Peace and Joy 6x6 paper pack. Just adding some little dots of glue and then making sure that I get all the way around my edge as well. Now I'm going to glue these pieces onto top folding A2 sized card bases, and you saw me there use my scissors. Sometimes I don't trim things exactly perfectly. I don't think anybody really ever gets it exactly perfect, so I just have my scissors handy to trim off as I'm adhering. Most of the time it's good to go, but every now and then I get one piece where there's a little bit of overhang. Then I'm going to mix and match my sentiments onto my backgrounds. I used the same patterns except for that one piece of red. I had one red piece of cardstock in my paper pack that was just big enough to cut out this label shape, and I really love that red pattern. It's my favorite. I'm going to pop those up with some foam tape, and this little trio of cards is done. This took me no time at all, and I definitely think that you could whip up a bunch of these for your holiday cards this season. Thanks so much for joining me. Remember that you can visit the LDRS Creative YouTube channel for more inspiration, as well as they have a Facebook group, and you can always visit their website as well. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye.